The Golden Age of Darius and Xerxes, 522 to 465 BCE. If Cyrus built the house, it was Darius who laid the foundation, paved the roads, and designed the grand hall. Under his rule, the Achaemenid Empire became not just vast, but organized, efficient, and enduring. His reign transformed conquest into civilization, and administration into art. Yet at its height, this empire would meet its greatest test, a clash with the fiercely independent Greeks that would echo through the ages. Cambyses II and the crisis of succession. After Cyrus the Great's death, his son Cambyses II, r. 530–522 BCE, inherited an empire that stretched from the Indus to the Aegean. Determined to continue his father's vision, Cambyses set his sights on Egypt, the last great power of the ancient Near East still independent. In 525 BCE, after a daring desert crossing and a decisive victory at Pelusium, Cambyses conquered Egypt and claimed the title of pharaoh. The conquest added one of the world's oldest and wealthiest civilizations to Persia's dominion. However, Cambyses' success masked growing instability. While in Egypt, reports reached him that an impostor named Galmata, posing as Cambyses' brother Smerdis or Bardia, had seized power in Persia. Whether through conspiracy, madness, or despair, Cambyses died mysteriously on his return journey, likely by suicide or accident. His death plunged the empire into chaos and uncertainty. Darius I, the Great, and the rebirth of order. Into this crisis stepped Darius I, r. 522–486 BCE, a distant relative of Cyrus from a junior line of the Achaemenid family. With the backing of the Persian elite and the elite 10,000 immortals, Darius overthrew Galmata, claiming divine sanction from Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of Zoroastrianism. The early years of Darius's reign were consumed by rebellion. Nearly 20 provinces rose in revolt, from Babylon to Egypt, Media to the Indus. Over several years, Darius crushed them all, recording his victories on the monumental Behistun inscription, carved into a cliff in western Iran. A political declaration in stone that became the Rosetta Stone of Persian history. The administrative genius, satrapies, and supervision. Once stability was restored, Darius turned his energy towards governance. His genius lay not in conquest, but in administration, the ability to govern an empire stretching over 3 continents and encompassing more than 70 distinct peoples. He divided the realm into about 20 satrapies, or provinces, each overseen by a satrap, or governor, responsible for collecting tribute, maintaining order, and enforcing royal law. But Darius, wary of rebellion, ensured no man could rival the great king's power. He installed the system of checks and balances. Each satrap was paired with a separate military commander, preventing them from controlling both civil and military authority. A network of royal inspectors, known as the king's eyes and ears, traveled unannounced, reporting directly to Darius himself. Taxes were standardized, measured in silver, and tribute obligations carefully recorded. This structure allowed local autonomy while ensuring central control, an early model of imperial federalism centuries ahead of its time. The royal road and communication. To knit his vast empire together, Darius built one of the greatest engineering feats of the ancient world, the royal road. Stretching nearly 1,600 miles, 2,600 kilometers, from Susa in Persia to Sardis near the Aegean. It allowed couriers, troops, and merchants to traverse the empire with astonishing speed. Relay stations with fresh horses dotted the route, enabling royal messengers to cover the full distance in about a week, a revolution in logistics and communication. As the Greek historian Herodotus later wrote, Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor darkness of night prevents these couriers from completing their appointed course with all speed. This system would inspire the later Persian postal networks and even modern postal mottos. Economy, coinage, and prosperity. To unify the empire's vast markets, Darius introduced a standardized gold coin, the daric, and a silver coin, the siglos. These became the backbone of trade across Eurasia, from India to the Mediterranean. The daric symbolized imperial confidence. It bore the image of a Persian archer, a reminder that Persian order was maintained by both commerce and conquest. Darius also undertook massive irrigation projects, expanded agriculture, and promoted long-distance trade, ensuring prosperity across regions once divided by culture and geography.
Persepolis, the throne of thrones. Seeking to glorify his dynasty, Darius commissioned the construction of Persepolis, a ceremonial capital carved from the mountains of Fars. Unlike practical capitals like Susa or Babylon, Persepolis was symbolic, a monumental stage for royal ceremonies, Nowruz, New Year celebrations, and tribute processions. Reliefs on its stairways depict emissaries from every corner of the empire: Ethiopians, Indians, Lydians, Scythians, bearing gifts to the great king, united under Persian order. The architecture blended Persian, Median, Egyptian, and Greek elements, a visual statement of the empire's cosmopolitan identity. The Persian Wars, East meets West. Darius's empire eventually brushed against the rising city-states of Greece, whose fiercely independent spirit contrasted sharply with Persia's centralized order. The first spark came from the Ionian Revolt, 499 to 493 BCE, when Greek cities in Anatolia rebelled with help from Athens and Eretria. Darius crushed the revolt, but vowed revenge. "Who are these Athenians?" he reportedly asked his servants, and ordered them to repeat the question thrice daily so he would never forget. In 490 BCE, Darius launched a punitive expedition against Greece. His vast army crossed the Aegean, but met unexpected resistance at the Battle of Marathon. The Athenian hoplites, outnumbered but disciplined and motivated, routed the Persian forces. The defeat was a humiliation and a sign that Persian might had limits. Xerxes I and the Great Expedition. Upon Darius's death, his son, Xerxes I, reigned 486 to 465 BCE, inherited not only the empire's vast wealth, but also its unfinished vendetta. Xerxes was more a monarch of ceremony and power than his pragmatic father, a ruler who saw himself as the divine king of kings. Determined to avenge Marathon, Xerxes prepared the largest invasion force the ancient world had ever seen. He ordered a pontoon bridge built across the Hellespont, modern Dardanelles, using hundreds of ships bound together with cables, allowing his massive army, perhaps over 1 million men by ancient accounts, to march from Asia into Europe. In 480 BCE, his armies descended upon Greece. The legendary stand of King Leonidas and 300 Spartans at Thermopylae delayed the Persians but could not stop them. Athens was burned soon after. Yet the tide turned at sea. At Salamis, the smaller, nimbler Greek fleet outmaneuvered the Persian armada in the narrow straits, devastating it. The following year, at Plataea, 479 BCE, the Persians suffered a final, decisive defeat. Xerxes retreated, leaving his general Mardonius dead on the field. The dream of conquering Greece dissolved, but Persia remained a global superpower, its heartlands untouched. Legacy of the Golden Age. Though the Persian Wars marked the limit of Achaemenid expansion westward, the empire Darius built would endure for nearly 2 more centuries. His administrative model influenced later empires, from Alexander's successors to the Romans and even modern states. Under Darius and Xerxes, Persia reached not only its geographical zenith, but its cultural and political maturity, an empire of laws, languages, and ideas, where power was tempered by organization and vision.